Welcome to Meditation Monday. I am Josie Amoni, and I am so grateful to sit here with you and to speak of what is moving through this week, what may be moving through your personal practice and your growth and your healing cycles. And there's something very special, of course, of sitting with you for it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is showcasing it is also the full moon. So full moon blessings. If you wish to share any questions or uncertainties of what has come up within your personal practice this week, you're more than welcome to share them within the chat group so I can address your specific concerns. Think of that as always a bit of a Q&A prior to us getting in practice. And so as you may choose to voice and share some of your journey, take a moment to first allow yourself to slow down your breath. To even allow some sweet exhales out of your mouth. To witness where in your body it may be challenging to breathe right now. Is it in your belly? Is it in your heart? Is it in your throat? Might even be in your nose. Where is the current of breath finding some difficulty? And how can you sit with that difficulty and still be here and still be present and still breathe? And that may seem like it's a very simple practice, but that simple practice of breathing into or accepting the areas where you feel your breath is limited can be very reflective in the greater things that you may be reflecting upon this full moon. You're welcome to share what you know of full moon and the moon cycles as well within the chat or the comments, even on replay. But the one most beautiful thing about meditating on a full moon is that the full moon brings to light what may have been in the darkness, what you may not have been ready to see, what you may not be willing to see. And so I just want to congratulate you on the courage that it takes to move from the new moon to the full. The courage that it takes to step deep within in the darkness of the new moon and then see and witness what has surfaced within the last couple of weeks. And it's neat. I'm guided to almost go back for a second to what I shared within the new moon oracle. There was 3 cards that came to be shared with the collective. And one was end of tough cycles. Another then was your commitment is being tested. And prosperity lies ahead. was the third. And now that we're meeting on a more regular basis, do you see what may have moved through, how that may have prepared you for what was to come? For commitment being tested, all right? What I'm guided to speak of and share a bit of today in preparation for our seated meditation is, when do you feel most ready to give up? Give up your practices, give up connection. Is it when you've received the joy and the bliss and the peace? Or is it when what is surfacing is the kaka? The kaka being the challenges, the negative self-talk, the whatever may be surfacing that might feel heavier that you are carrying. And the challenge of committing to your practice, to your journey, to moving further and further into the rhythms of your nature that are so innately connected to the rhythms of the moon and the sun, is that, of course, it may seem easier to commit to practices when you're feeling good. And it may seem more challenging to do the practices, to sit when things that have surfaced are testing. They're literally testing your commitment to you. And it's neat. I don't know where it began. And maybe you will know where it began. Maybe you can share with me what your notions are of where it began to try to hold on to a sensation. I'm getting from thank you, Despina, of definitely the kaka for me. I can stay committed to things when I'm feeling the bliss. Yeah, it seems like some people, and it really depends, right? There's no right or wrong answer, right? It depends on the type of person you are. Some people, when they feel the kaka, they do even more practices because they're like, I want to change this, I want to shift it. And then when the bliss comes, they're like, I'm just gonna just like lay in La La Land, and I'll just be there. And of course, vice versa can occur as well. But there's this weird thing that started of us wanting to hold on to it. And maybe it is, my guess is, because we've experienced so much kaka, so many, difficult cycles, so many tough cycles in our lives, that when you start to feel the bliss or the joy or the peace or the love, right, you want to hold on to it. You don't want to let it move. You don't want to let it shift in any way, because there's an uncertainty that it may not return. And then, interestingly though, then when the kaka surfaces, the things that test your commitment, the things that test you to your core, when the difficulty arises again, oddly enough, you'd think that we'd want them to move. We'd want them to move through us and release and let go. But because of this holding on dearly to the good, right? Just in case it goes. Our body will naturally, even with the kaka, hold on to it and not let it go. And you may see this or witness this when the challenging emotions or the difficult thoughts arise, right? You don't release them. You almost like sit in them, sit in the kaka and go, woe is me. Woe is my difficulties. My life sucks. I can't see anything else. And the full moon, it brings whatever you've been working through in those blissful cycles, in those cycles where you felt good to move through and to continue and to move on and to see and to hope for what's ahead. When you felt some of the delight and the joy and the magic that life can bring, subconsciously, deeply, by allowing more of that to flow within your day to day, the full moon then will allow to surface what is not in resonance with you anymore. And so then it's your choice to hold on to what surfaced, keep it there for another cycle, get buried into the shit, be like, I'm going to stick here and I'm going to stay here and I'm going to hold on to it because it just feels so real. Or just like I asked at that very beginning, where's the limitation? Where is the breath not moving? That's kind of like the kaka. It's like it will show up like a limitation, like something that's stagnant, that is not moving with you, not in your rhythm, not in your alignment. And so how can you hold space for that to continue to breathe instead of stopping the flow, stopping that rhythm, and letting the limitation get bigger? You're welcome. And I want to be very clear on this because, in walking the journey, in sharing of the journey, in sharing of these practices, each full moon, we have a choice to see what is illuminated, right? Dependent on the work that has moved through us within the past cycle. We will either see a surfacing of the kaka or a surfacing of the bliss. You will either see a very easeful way, right, to experience the blessings that the full moon can bring in its illumination. Or you can see in the exact same very clear way the shit. So I'm hearing from some that you're on the kaka. you're seeing that right now. And I'm not meaning to laugh at you. It's like, because it really does. When people share, whoa, this full moon is immense, right? The full moon is so big and I'm feeling the energies. It's because it is illuminating the movement that is within you. It is illuminating what is moving, what is easily releasing with the rhythm of the moon, right? Easeful release can come today. Easeful release can occur and continue in these next 3 days. It's the most easy time to release. But what aspects of potentially the thoughts or the feelings, the memories or the patterns that are showing up feel just so much bigger that if you were to release them, you might not even know who you are. Perception is everything. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so in our meditation practice, right, why we choose to sit and breathe, be it that it's in the shit or be it that it's in the bliss, be it that in whatever perspective of what is surfacing within you at this moment in time that is now, that choice to sit, to be with it, is not to let it stay there, right? It's not that you're like, okay, I am this fearless warrior. I'm going to sit with these terrible sensations and I'm going to just sit with them and I'm going to let them get super big and I'm going to just be shitty. I'm going to sit and be shitty. It's like, or the opposite of like, fuck all the shit. I'm really swearing tonight, but like mess all of that up. I don't care. I'm feeling bliss now. And gosh darn it, I am going to sit in it. I'm going to sit in the bliss. I'm not going to allow anything else to enter. Do you see how they're the same thing? Either or, the one constant in cycles, in rhythms, in movement is change. It's change. And so the question that comes is, are you ready for true change? And if you are ready for true change, then be it whatever has surfaced today, yesterday, through the ripples bringing us towards this fullness of seeing all that has come to our attention, to our awareness, to our focus, is to accept that if we breathe and we sit with it, that both on either side of the spectrum may change. What comes up with that? What surfaces with that? Is it a fear? Is it a fear that if change happens, if something changes, that is right now, that what? I'm interested in seeing what the fear is, so that we can address it. Because the ability to shift perspective, that's change. And so by us addressing the way that either of those statements brings up uncertainty in us, fear, or difficulty, will allow the illumination of today to open and allow that fear, which is a perspective that may also be attached to emotions and thoughts and memories of old patterns, right? Old ways that have happened before. It will also then allow that to shift. And I'm getting some spirit approval. I realized, actually, this is a little an aside, but you see how like the light shifts from warm to cold? This is not my light. And recently in a private group I was running, because I always thought, maybe because in YouTube, I always let a candle connect to my guides, and initiate protection prior to stepping on. But in that private group, I didn't light candle. And it still happened when we started to speak of spirit. It's their way of saying hi. It's their way of kind of what they can do on a live YouTube. So take a moment. I greet you, Spirit. I greet the spirit that is in each and every one of you. That infinitesimal, magical being that has moved and shifted and changed so many times within so many time cycles. I greet you. And I welcome our spiritual assisters that are really loving this message right now. What is being shared is, thank you for sharing about the fear, because I know it's hard to share about the fear sometimes, right? All the self-doubts come up even more. You're like, oh my gosh, will this be accepted? Both fear that the bliss will never come back. Yeah. And on the other side, gratitude that the kaka won't stay forever. Yeah. And then we can simply shift that perspective. Thank you for sharing that. That there could be fear that the kaka will, instead of releasing, will increase, will grow, will get bigger. And there may be gratitude that if the bliss moves, it is moving towards the earth. Where is it moving to? That bliss is being shared. That was a really hard one for me. It was a really hard one for me to sincerely feel within, without doubting what I was saying. And I remember it, like I had this, literally today, I had this really magical, I run a private group that goes with the circles, the full moon and the new moon in circle, for a woman in the Gulf. And it was such a brilliant release and such an incredible heart opening that occurred. And so I came off of that connection with like heart expanded, bliss all around, love, positivity, singing, woo, And I saw, though, as I then moved, into walking my dog, and doing some things. And then, of course, interacting with some people, socially distant, of course, that were outside in the public, around me and my dog. And I saw that very, very clearly, because there was someone that wasn't having that same bliss experience, that was, within probably 50 feet of me. And so there was almost a resistance for me to shift my blissful perspective. I was like, I don't want to see the disconnect or the discontent right now. I'm just rose-colored glasses, please. Right? It's like when we get that moment of positivity or that moment of love, you're just like, I am not letting it out of my sight. And I witnessed that. I witnessed how I wanted to keep it so bad, even though there was other things around me that were sharing that, hey, guess what? You are in movement. You're literally walking your dog, Jose. You're moving through space. And as I'm moving through space, I'm obviously going to meet other beings and connect to other energy sources, other divine beings. And their equilibrium and my equilibrium are always, as we move through space and time, we are asking ourselves to harmonize in some way. And so then I realized that me holding on with such vigor and fervor to my bliss state was not in harmony. It was creating actually discordance. I was like, oh my goodness, I have to let that move. I have to let that move. I have to allow what has surfaced in me to move. There's this beautiful thing of release, that release can be thought of as letting go, right? Letting go of something you do not want, or gifting something that you do have that you love to someone else. To the environment, to the beings that you are interacting and moving with. So, in the release of the full moon, in sitting together, be it that it's live or that you sit with the energy of those that are sitting here live on replay, know that that is the dynamic, right? Is that we get to choose to come and sit and be and breathe and move our energy in the agreements that we release, which simultaneously will allow us to receive. It happens like two ways all the time. And so then no matter where you may be it on the kaka spectrum or the bliss spectrum, do you see then how beautiful it is to gather? Because then those that are experiencing bliss will choose to release that. And those who are experiencing kaka will also choose to release that. And then the wondrous thing of us doing this with spirit and with the intention not to harm others, but the intention that our release is to be alchemized and transmuted by the earth, the rhythms of the water, the connection to the moon. We direct it there first, so that each intake of breath, as we move with those waters and entrain and harmonize ourselves with those rhythms, that we can trust that we can receive then a shift. We can receive change. And the most beautiful thing about this is that the change is not so binary. it's not so like you're either receiving shit or you're going to receive bliss. Like it's not either or. For allowing bliss to release is feeding, right? It's feeding the earth, it's feeding each other. So what else do you think you could receive? Right? We have this fear, just as Despina described, that the fear that the bliss will never come back. But what if we released, be it bliss or kaka, in the knowing and in the trust that what we receive, if we are releasing, going, we are benefiting all, then we may receive what we will be benefiting all. So it may not be bliss. It may not be that like high as a kite sensation, but it may be peace, it may be comfort, maybe clarity. There's so many things to receive. It may be joy. So what I am getting in furthering, right, the oracle from new moon, and of course I will share, and I'm connecting tomorrow night for a new oracle to guide us through full to new. But what I am receiving of that final teaching of commitment that has been moving through is that commitment, the commitment to you, right, that I shared 2 weeks ago, is a commitment to you allowing release and a commitment to you allowing yourself to receive. Right? It's allowing that flow. There was this beautiful conversation I had leading up to full moon that she shared of how this, enlightened teacher, and I'm not saying that in any joke, I'm like, that's just how she described this person, this enlightened teacher that's, been meditating and practicing deeply, deeply, deeply for a very, 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 very long time. Shared this message in one of their talks that kind of confused her. And then she saw it continue in multiple talks. And so she was like, okay, I need to figure this out. And what they were speaking of was the human's connection to clenching and unclenching. And that was the words they used, clenching and unclenching. Right? We can understand that in our body, of how we clench our body and unclench our body. Can you understand how that happens in the mind? Holding on to a thought, holding on to something that comes in, going, oh my gosh, this is it, this is it, this is it, this is it. Or unclenching is what I'm speaking of, the release of it. Or holding on to something. Do we understand that in the heart? What does it mean to release in the heart? It means to open it. Right? Clenching the heart keeps it kind of closed, small. Clenching the belly. Right? So there's a lot of ways and places and spaces within us that we clench and unclench. And I remember when I first started to feel this rhythm in connecting to creation energy, into the energy that is creation, because creation happens in a pulsation that's somewhat like that, but it's not as deep a clench. But there is a drawing in and a release and an opening. So this clenching is very unique because it's almost as if there's a resistance towards that the natural rhythms, the natural pulsations of creation, the natural movements of release and receive within our lives. And so, what are you right now committed to clenching? What are you holding on to? What are you not allowing to move within the rhythm of time and of space, consciousness? It all pulses, it all moves. So, what has grabbed your attention and kept it? What are you resisting in either clearing from the mind, opening to in the heart? And so I ask you to take a moment and just really trust your body by this point, to share with you it. And if you don't trust your body completely, trust that your body is very naturally attuned to the moon. And so the rhythm and the fullness of the moon will assist the body in sharing with you the answer. You're not alone in this. And then I'd like you to prepare yourself for meditation. And to prepare yourself, just even take a hold of some water and let yourself give some blessings and gratitude to water. Water reminding you of those fluctuations and movements of the moon cycles that our body naturally harmonizes and entrains with. And then you can take a sip of water, for water, as we know, is a wondrous conduit for the movement of energy within. And if it is safe to do so, you can close your eyes at this point in time. Find a place where you'll be undisturbed. Welcome to lie down or to sit. Whatever feels right for your body right now. I'd like you to just slow down the breath. And remember what has been shared with you, the thing that you're clenching, that you're holding on to, be it a thought pattern, Get a sensation in the heart, in the belly. As you breathe, allow yourself, almost as if you're doing an internal scan, using your inner sight to locate those clenched sensations. And as you locate them, just see if first by bringing some breath there, since it may simply be a muscular or bodily reaction, you may be able to just easily release the clenching and soften and open your body even more. I'd like you to first, once you feel soft and open within the body, to now bring your awareness, that inner sight, towards your mind. And instead of scanning for words or thoughts, just simply feel where within your mind, like literally the pulsation of the brain, where in your brain does it feel like it is clenching? Just locate it. See how, when you locate it, how that may try to limit your breath, right? We naturally will try to stop breathing, kind of stay in that stasis point. So encourage yourself to still breathe. And see how gently you can move that breath to embrace your mind. So if your breath is just hugging your brain. And in the beautiful pulsation of your breath, to witness what occurs on the inhale and what occurs on the exhale. As you clear your mind, there's a part of the mind that gets uncertain with clarity. So you may feel almost like there is a tension that is trying to begin, a new thought, or something else to replace that. So continuing to breathe. Honor if there is a new tension that occurs, and just move with the rhythm of your breath to witness what occurs. You can continue to practice this, or you may feel what is described as clarity in the mind. Clarity is that unclenched sensation. There's opening to receive. Allow yourself to acclimate and accommodate whatever is surfacing. See how even your mind may start to search for more that is clenched, for something to hold on to. See if you can allow yourself to distance yourself from that. Minding your mind that it does not need to hold something right now. It can be clear. You may choose to continue to work in this process with your mind. Or you are welcome to move your focus to your belly or to your heart, to an area where you may feel something being held in static. If it is in the belly or your heart, now that it's in the body, it may also bring up a pain response. So see if you can still bring your breath around the area that is feeling limitation. And you will find that the body has some very unique things for as it unclenches that pain or limitation, it may share a memory, a thought, or words with your mind. So then your practice, if there's a thought then that comes to hold you in a point. Is to locate where that thought is within your mind. And allow your breath to come to it. Allow your energy to embrace it. And so you may find that you may naturally move between mind and body. But allowing it to be done in your own pace. It feels like it moves with the rhythm of your breath. Soft like the rolling of the waves. Mm. And we get reminded thank you, Paco. To see what comes up in the heart. What fear may be right there. What did that sound bring up within? Where did you clench? And visualize where that clench is around your heart, around your chest or rib area. Visualize it as this tightly closed flower bud. So you can't rip it open, for it is delicate within itself. So just breathe into that bud. Feel the sound of your breath. Be gentle with yourself as you breathe here. First, the bud may gently, gently open. It may feel a little painful, like an ache, for it has been closed shut for so long. Remember, you are not breathing alone. You are breathing with the support of each other, with spirit. Bring that knowing to each breath. As it opens, it may move not as gracefully. It may twitch, it may jump, it may creak. Just keep your awareness there. If it brings memories or thoughts into your mind, you now know how to dance back up to the mind. The wondrous thing as you focus in that central area is that as it opens, the other parts of your body, your mind, will receive what is within. Receive what is opening within. And with each exhale, feel the ease in what is releasing. And in the movement of release, receive, receive, release, in and out, access your point between. So as those two movements flow, that you find your balance between. And see how, as that movement within continues, that your balance point may gently move as well. And allowing your seated and gentle sway of your spine by this point. Encouraging a gentle sway and movement of your body. If you are lying down, you can gently move your toes, your fingers, your joints, even your neck. This movement of your external body bringing you back to bring this practice into you slowly with eyes open. And with eyes open, isn't it neat how the mind may move and pulse now, the heart, the belly, the body, to respond to what it's seeing around it and how to maintain an equilibrium and harmony. I'd like you at this point, if you feel comfortable in doing so, to ask self, what am I committed to now? What am I open to receive? What am I open to release? Maybe a sensation will come first before the answer, before the words. Maybe the words will come after more water tonight, or a sweet bath or shower to connect to the water and the rhythms of the moon. Maybe the shift of perspective will continue as you walk where you gaze at the moon. I thank you for sitting with me. For honoring how we can come together, even in the differences of our experiences. And find some harmony in the flow, in the change, in the shifts. I also thank you for honoring the healer that sometimes comes in to my sessions in very opportune times, which is my dear familiar Paco. It's neat. I was asking myself at that moment, how could we access the pain or the fear in the heart? And he got us there. You're welcome to share, to practice this. Again, if you wish to assist yourself with the rhythms of the moon that will continue in the next couple days. If you wish to join me tomorrow, I'll be here at 7 p.m. ET, Eastern, time for an oracle and to announce some exciting things that will be coming in May. I thank you for your presence, your spirit, all of you. Rest well. full moon blessings. Take care.